We were just discussing about coal utilization. No, now Middle East is again on fire, and what we have seen, the price of crude has gone up again. So just to insulate our country from such fluctuations, we need to be more self-independent. And in this regards, I'll say carbon capture is one thing, and gasification of coal to make various products is one thing. And to us, Mr. Ahlawat is the guy who is operating a coal-based gasification plant to make steel, and they are also operating a carbon capture plant at Angul facility. So my first question to Mr. Ahlawat is that JSPL has committed to be a net zero carbon emitter by 2047. So what is the role of carbon capture you are forcing in this journey?
Absolutely. Thanks, Gaurav, for your question. See, for us, carbon capture, and utilization is it is one of the main lever that we have if we have to reduce our carbon intensity, right? So we strongly believe that with the CCU, storage part is still actually in a very premature stage. And again, it is very, very specific to the terrains and the kind of terrains where we operate, mainly in the eastern corridor or eastern part of India. There, I think the terrain is not looking that great because there are no onshore oil and gas blocks and offshore blocks. Plus, there is also a paucity of peridiotic rocks where you can do a lot of mineralization. So for us, CCU will become very, very important imperative. And on the carbon capture, see, already we are doing close to 3,000 tons plus of carbon capturing, right? Because this out of this 3,000 tons, 50% we are doing the carbon capturing in the rectisol process. That is part of the whole gasification value chain. And the remaining 50% we are doing in our DRI plant with the help of MDEA, monodiethanol amine. And this technique, technology was given to us by Technip. In Rectisol, the technology was given to us then Air Liquide. And the technology still lies with Air Liquide. So I think capturing part is more or less done. The focus for us as a company is more to do on the utilization. So we are evaluating various routes. The first route is chemical route, where ethanol, methanol becomes quite paramount. Calcium carbonate is the another one which we are focusing. And the second one is basically the mineralization part. As I said, mineralization is quite restrictive. We are saying that if we can make the aggregates with CO2, but again, the utilization of CO2 in this part will be quite restricted. Dry as carbonated drinks and all, it is quite restricted. So for us, one of the main lever will be to make ethanol, methanol, and calcium carbonate. And for us, we have already basically issued expression of interest. And I'm pleased to inform you that we have got very, very good response from the market, from India, outside India. And I think within the next 2 to 3 odd months, we'll be able to zero down our potential collaboration with one of the bidders.
Correct. Good point. Now, see, the only problem is the CO2 emissions. Problem is not the coal, not the fossils. So we should be very pragmatic. What is good for our country? So now, next question again to you, Naveenji. So in a steel plant, there are a lot of emissions. And how do you balance the pressure to decarbonize while maintaining the need for cost-effective and reliable production across the plant?
So I think it's a great question. And, as you rightly said, you used a very important thing, pragmatic and realistic. This is super important because, in the wake of, if India has to become a developed country by 2047 or Viksit Bharat, steel has to play an important role. And the capacity from 150 odd million tons has to go to almost 300 million tons by 2030. So, right? So we have to do this capacity building in a sustainable manner, in a basically ensuring that we actually stay where we are, or at least we start reducing our basically carbon intensity. So we as a company have chalked out a very pragmatic plan. So from short to medium to long term. Short term, we clearly believe that with the help of operation excellence, energy excellence, these are the levers that will really help us to reduce our carbon intensity by at least 10 to 15 odd percent. Second is the deployment or the penetration of renewable energy for powering our steel operation, like As we speak, we are putting up 1.5 gigawatt of solar farm in Bikaner in Rajasthan, and another 1.5 gigawatt of wind farm is coming up in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And these plants, 3 gigawatt power, renewable power, will be available to us by middle of, to end of next year. So that itself will help us to reduce our carbon intensity by 15 to 20 odd percent, right? So starting with operational excellence, energy excellence, and renewable energy, this itself we believe together as a lever from short to medium term can help us to achieve to reduce our carbon intensity by 25 to 30%, right? So that's
Right.
one. Now once we do this parallelly, we believe that carbon capture utilization, because by that time in next 2 to 3 odd years there will be more amplification, there will be more scalability of these technologies, and more basically permanent sinks will be explored. Because if we talk about the permanent sinks in India, we have like there is a potential, huge potential of 500 gigatons of
Gigaton.
permanent storage. If we talk about zoom into the Eastern Corridor itself has
All right.
200 odd gigaton of storage. So meaning, government, I think in next 2 to 3 odd months will also come up with the carbon capture utilization mission that will give more perspective, more vision, line of sight in terms of the hub and cluster models, the basically the pipeline, the routing of the pipeline, the overall pipeline layout for the energy intensive or the clusters are going to form. So that will really bring a lot of traction in this area. So that is where we believe that from short to medium and long term, of course, is definitely going to be the green hydrogen. So we are basically exploring different colors of hydrogen, starting from blue to green and also to the pink as well. Pink is also going to play an important role because there's so much of traction on the nuclear energy as well. By 2047, we have to add 100 gigaton of 100 gigawatt of nuclear. And if you integrate electrolyzers with the steam coming from the nuclear plants, I think that can give the most competitive levelized cost of hydrogen. So I think all these levers are definitely going to play an important role. Plus, also bringing operational excellence in the existing plant, like the thermal plants that we have. We'll try to get it ready for the future ready technologies, like thermal energy storage is one of them, where we can bring in this technology and try to sort of retrofit, or what we say, the repurpose our existing coal fire plant. Plus there are some assets where we believe can be retrofitted, like the better efficient, energy efficient coke one plants, and also retiring some of the coke plants, basically which have already achieved their life. So these are the things, pragmatic things, we believe will be important for us, and especially the lever one, energy excellence and operational excellence, with the minimum capex of 3 to 4%, it will help us to reduce our carbon intensity by 10 to 15%, as I said. So these are the pragmatic, realistic, and the highly impactful strategies that we have actually roadmapped for to reduce our carbon intensity.
Thank you so much. Nicely pointed out that there is no single silver bullet for entire decarbonization. We need to have a mix of everything. And the good thing about hydrogen is, that's pointed out by Naveen ji, that there are different colors of hydrogen right now. But the good thing that consumer and end consumer does not discriminate on the behalf of colors. Naveen Ahlawat ji, we would like to just know about the coal gasification plant which you are operating, and the carbon capture plant. And because of this carbon capture plant associated with this, your coal gasification, what benefits you are getting in steel making, and what are the benefits to the environment? This whole question is to say that we can use coal as a clean energy means, and that will be good for India.
I think it's a great question, Gaurav. The point is that we have to basically focus on this fact that India has got the fourth largest coal reserves. Now this is very, very important. We have now, there are two ways of thinking it. One, we see that okay, as we move forward, we can totally sort of retire these assets, or we use this asset more basically in a mindful way or in a sustainable way. That is super important, right? Now, the coal gasification, all the rotary kilns that we talk about, coal-based rotary kilns, they are very carbon intensive, high carbon intensive, basically way of steel making. Now, with coal gasification as one of the route, I think it is very, very, basically low carbon intensive, clean gas, because the synthetic gas is a very clean gas. You gasify coal, use this asset and make pure gas. that gas can be used to reduce iron oxide into iron. So this is one of the best way to make steel making. Now this is like moving from bad to good. Now moving from good to great is the moment we, because the good thing about gasification is that the schemes which SG has just said, the concentration of CO2, it is pretty high. Like in Retrosol, it is 88, 89% CO2 concentrated, right? In DRI, the CO2, the captured CO2 that we are getting, it is 99.5% plus ready to be utilized, right? So now you don't have to spend extra capex to capture this CO2, right? So it is directly you can utilize this CO2 to make various valuable chemicals, aggregates, and so on and so forth, right? So this is one of the important thing. Now, just to give you an example, if I put a carbon capturing plant on a standalone basis versus the carbon capturing that we are having, the cost is almost one third to one fourth, right? So this is very, very important because, the moment you start going downstream, you will start, using this low cost captured CO2, which will make all your, basically projects economically viable. That is one. Second, I think with the help of carbon credits, I think in this route of CCU, the carbon credit that you can get will derive the maximum benefit, will drive the highest value. Like as we speak, the carbon credit value around this route is it is hovering around 70 to $100 per ton, right? These are the recently traded carbon credits around this route. So that's why gasification is super important. It is doing two, three things at one time. First, it is utilizing our coal reserves. Second, it is giving us a clean gas. Number three, it is also giving us a very high concentration CO2 that can be utilized. And fourth, because if we otherwise if we don't use these coal reserves, with the next 5, 6 or years, or let's say 10 years, then with more carbon prices coming, with more basically environmental sustainable solution coming in, we won't be able to do the basically justice to this technology. And China is one of the super example here. From 1990 to 2010, China they used coal gasification as one of their main levers to become the world largest exporter of all sort of chemicals, be it ammonia, ammonium nitrate, methanol, dimethyl ether, and all the downstream chemicals.
Yeah.
So I think it is a very, very, actually, I would say the last opportunity for us to really go to capitalize coal gasification. And I think from the PM office, Honorable Prime Minister, as per his vision, we have to gasify 100 million ton of coal by 2030. And with new CCO's vision coming in, plus the viability gap funding, given by Ministry of Coal, we see more coal gasification plant coming in near future. And that actually to us will help us to reduce our forex and really to become a basically self-reliant Atmanirbhar. I think the story is absolutely appealing. And this, I believe, is the last chance for us to really scale this process and technology.